Next up we have Eating Biez.
Hi folks, I'm going to make this just really short. I'd like to, for anyone out of state, to encourage you to go back home and contact your congressmen and senators on the state level as well as the national level and tell them that you're sick and tired of being sick and tired, that the state of Virginia has already set a precedent that Lyme is real and that doctors have to make a really good effort at testing you and informing you, and that ask them to tell you where they stand on this disease, and if they give you the runaround, then you probably can surmise that they're maybe bought and paid for by big pharma, big medicine, big insurance, and tell them that you're not going to vote for them, that if they're not going to support you and your health, that you're not going to support them, that you need to be cured. We all need to be cured. We can't afford the health costs associated with this disease going chronic and people making billions of dollars off of it. It's not fair, and we need to put an end to it, and we need to let our politicians know that we're just not going to tolerate it anymore. We tolerated it for too long, and it's time to acknowledge, it's time to stop persecuting good doctors like Dr. Jimsick, who care, and they're put up with a lot of crap and persecution, but they care about us, and they're hanging in there supporting us, and we need to support them by contacting our Congress and just stay at it, just keep at it, and tell them that you want to respond. You want to know where they stand, and that they need to start supporting proper care and testing and research, because the health care costs that are looming out there are just insurmountable and cannot be sustained. So please do that as soon as you can. Thank you very much.
All right, our next speaker is Tracy Hamer Will.
Hey, Tracy!
Check us out! Yeah! Do we freaking rock or what? It's the Lymie's Take DC! Yeah! I mean, look at us. I see green fairies. I see green Draculas. I see green men. I think I saw like a green Wonder Woman. Wait, these aren't like Lyme hallucinations, right? You guys all see this, right? Right? Right. I hope so. Okay. Well, actually, if you look at the speaker schedule, you know that Alyssa Knapp is supposed to be speaking right now, but she's actually at my house, and I mean, I can't confirm nor deny the rumor that, she does have a really bad dairy allergy, and I can't confirm or deny that I may have fed her something so I could steal this speaking spot. But here I am, and we both have really curly hair, so, I mean, what's the difference? I just want to give a huge shout out to Josh and Allison for their unbelievably hard work and the rest of the MayDay committee. I think we should all just really give them a huge hand. And then, can I just get you all to help me for one quick second? Because there's somebody here, my best friend birthday is the day after tomorrow. And if I say something, will you all repeat after me? It's Lisa Hilton. Happy birthday, Lisa! Birthday, Lisa! Woo! Back there. Okay, Paul, you can pay me later. All right. My family has been doing the Dance with Lyme for many, many years. All 4 of us have had chronic Lyme. I pass it on to my kids, you know, like many of us have. Right now, 3 of us have central lines. I think between us, I think I counted, we've had 10 lines. And so, you know, we're kind of familiar with this stuff. I brought up a little note card, but my vision is so bad from the Lyme and all that, I can't see a damn thing here. Anyway, I think some of us get better and some of us, you know, this is a struggle for a long time, many years, if not most of our lives. There's a lot of up and down. You know, we need to find the joy and the positive things and things that we appreciate in life and in our days. And one of the things that's really wonderful in our family is that one of my kids did get better, and that's what I'm mostly here to talk about. Because the person that was going to speak about life after Lyme. And though that isn't something, unfortunately, that I can really tell you about, I can tell you about my 23-year-old son. But first I thought, you know, I would just touch on what we all go through, a little bit about, you know, the Lyme fatigue, the Lyme brain, because we've been through it all. I mean, you know you're a Lymie when you see mustard on someone's shirt, your husband's shirt, and everyone in the family says, did you spill Mepron on yourself? You know you're a Lymie when you drop a pill under the bed and you ask your husband to pick it up and he comes up with 15 pills? You know, a little neuropathy going on maybe? You know you're a Lymie when you have to buy a tow-behind trailer behind your car to make your pharmacy runs? I mean, we have our own bin at CVS. They know us by name. You know you're a Lymie when in 1 week you've had 2 ER visits, 2 911 calls, and your on-call nurse come out once. And that was my son Cody just last week. You know you're a Lymie when you have a little Lyme rage. Your husband gets a brand new bottle of Mepron, you're pissed at him, you dump a bunch of Tabasco sauce in it. I mean, I did that. You know you're a Lymie when you travel to D.C. for 4 days and you leave your freaking debit card at home. And you gotta sell t-shirts to try to get money for gas to get back. Anyway, am I really boring, or is that my chronic Lyme son asleep over there on the pavement? He's out. Okay, so my 23-year-old son Ryan, he was born with chronic Lyme. On his 5th birthday, he had a seizure that was really scary. It was life-threatening. He was a code blue in the ER, and he had to be taken by helicopter to a major medical center. He almost died. It was really rough. He was diagnosed with epilepsy. Both of my children have had medical problems their whole lives. You know, Ryan went through a lot. He had a real rough childhood. He had a seizure on the school bus once where they had to unload all the kids to get the stretcher on to get him off. You know, I remember being at some PTA meeting or something and another mom saying how her son was so traumatized because he'd been sitting next to this kid on the school bus that had a seizure, and now her son was having nightmares and she didn't know what to do, and I'm sitting there like, that was my kid, you know? It's just, you know, you go through a lot. My son was in and out of the hospital all the time. We didn't know for a long time that he had chronic Lyme, congenital Lyme, until he got chronic Lyme, because he got bitten by a tick, too, when he was in 6th grade. What, am I being that rude? Obnoxious? What? Okay. Anyway, he got bitten when he was in 6th grade. He got Lyme and just got so sick and so much worse and never bounced back. But he had school problems his whole life. When he got to high school, he got really sick from having been bitten and, you know, getting like the 3 weeks of antibiotics. He got to the point where he couldn't go to school, and he was in bed all the time, sleeping, but he refused to get a home tutor. He refused to do anything because he kept saying, I'm going to be better, I'm going to go to school tomorrow, I'm going to go to school tomorrow. We got him finally into Dr. Jones. He started treating. He did orals for about 1.5 years, IV for about 5 months. It was a long process. While he was really sick, you know, we'd have meetings with the school, and I remember at one point they asked if he was on drugs, because, you know, do we ever look like we're on drugs? Is it just my family or anyone else? Anyone ever ask you if you're taking something? Yeah, when you're really tired, out of it, spacey, can't walk straight. So we walked out of the meeting and my son said, take me to the doctor's right now and get me a drug test, you know, to prove that he wasn't. So it was rough, but he did his antibiotics and he started to get better. So it was pretty miraculous after all that time, being really sick. You know, he had having the seizures, having a lot of neuro issues, not being able to think. I really didn't think my son would ever amount to anything. I've got to say, I did not think he would get anywhere in life because he was, you know, he just didn't seem that smart. This isn't on like TV or anything. I mean, is this streaming live? Yeah. Brian, it's not about you. He just, you know, he just wasn't with it. I mean, he had trouble doing anything. He couldn't do his homework. He just, you know, he just didn't. We really didn't think he was going to get anywhere. He'd been sick his whole life, and you know, now couldn't go to school, and just couldn't think, couldn't talk well. Well, he started to get better. He did the IV, he did the Tindamax, he did all the meds, he saw Dr. Jones, and he started getting better. And pretty soon he was really getting better. His depression was clearing up. He went off his antidepressant. He'd been on that since like 5th or 6th grade. Since 6th grade, since he got bitten. He'd been on the antidepressant, lots of Lyme rage, lots of holes punched in the walls, and he was really getting better. So my son started to be able to do things. He decided to become an EMT. He went through EMT training, and they loved him. They said he was great. I was really nervous because, you know, he's got a lot of Lyme brain going on there, a lot of ADD stuff. I thought he was going to kill someone, you know, a patient. He's taking care of patients. He had a PICC line in his arm, but he did really well. They asked him to go to firefighter school, so he did. Next thing I know, when he was, I think he had just turned 18, he was firefighter of the year in our town. They picked him to be firefighter of the year. It was quite an honor. So he finished his EMT training, he became a volunteer EMT and firefighter, and then he decided, and you know, sort of, I mean, I do have Lyme brain myself. I really can't give you the timeline exactly, but it's all within these couple of years. He went back to school. He wanted to, the school, my husband and I, we kept trying to tell him, just get your GED. I mean, you're behind by 2 whole years, and you're like 18 years old now. And he said, no, I will not settle for a GED. I want my diploma. He went back to school. They had a program that meets like in the afternoon. He went back for 2 full years to get his diploma. And when we went to his graduation, it took him 7 years to get through high school. When we went to his graduation, it was, you know, all people that had gotten it in, through like an afternoon adult ed program. It was just the best graduation ever. My son was so proud. He was so happy. And even though the school tried so hard to tell him just to get a GED, I think he had that determination inside of him that the Lyme disease was not going to rob him of anything. He was going to be tougher and beat it, and he was going to get that diploma just like he should have. So he got his diploma, and then he didn't tell me, but then he joined the Army. And this is where I really freaked out, because he'd only been in remission for a year, and I'm thinking there is no way this kid is going to make it through basic training. He's been sick his whole life. Even when he first started working as an EMT, he'd come home and sleep for 16 or 18 hours. This is a disaster. You know, how is he going to go through basic training? 10 weeks of getting your butt kicked and going through all this? He's going to crash, he's going to burn, he's going to lose all the ground he's gained. It's over. I was wrong. He went to basic training and he got through it with flying colors. I don't think there's any higher testament to a Lymie being in remission than someone who is as sick as my son was, going to and completing basic training in August in Missouri. And then in September, the rest of it in San Antonio. But he did it and he did great. So he got out of the Army and he started college, and he is now a full-time college student. He's been in the Army National Guard for almost 2 years. He's doing great. He's gotten some awards in the Army. He's doing really well, and he has 2 jobs. He's a full-time student, does Army National Guard. He works as an EMT on an ambulance, where he has worked for 2 years, and he's an EMT in a hospital emergency room. And he has a lovely girlfriend, and she's got a 4-year-old daughter. They all live with us. So my story of life after Lyme is to tell you about my son and how well he did. Another thing, you know, sometimes something good comes out of these things, and that's what I think we have to look for. What good can come out of our stories and out of our troubles? And one good thing came out of this. When Ryan was really sick, our pediatrician had taken in another doctor. I'm talking really fast because I think we're over time, so I'm just like cramming this all in with this rapid speed here. She had taken in another couple of doctors to work with her, and one of them was kind of a jerk. Every time we'd bring Ryan in, he would keep saying, oh, there's no such thing as chronic Lyme. Those doctors that treat chronic Lyme are a bunch of charlatans. Those labs that test for that are in cahoots with the doctors. And, you know, the typical thing we've all heard. It was really awful because he would say this. He'd turn his back to us and try to talk to Ryan directly and say, you just need more exercise. You just need more sleep. You need to go to school. You need to just, you know, you're fine. There's nothing wrong with you. And we'd keep going in with all of our education and Dr. Jones and this and that. One of our Lyme friends convinced us to go to Dr. Jones' final hearing in Hartford. And when we got there, we looked up at the 3 panelists that were pretty much deciding his fate. This doctor was one of the 3 panelists who had made the decisions on Dr. Jones' fate to be penalized for treating Lyme patients. We were in absolute shock. We could not believe it. The guy's like a country hick doctor who never, in all this time he'd been saying these negative things to us about chronic Lyme and how he didn't believe in it, ever even indicated that he was a panelist in Dr. Jones' trial. So my husband and I approached Dr. Jones and his attorney, and we became key witnesses in the case. We testified in Superior Court against the Connecticut State Medical Board because one of their panelists was so biased. And we had directly been hearing this over the last 2 years while he was serving on the board. So, that was one good thing that, came out of all of this. At least we were led to have some kind of a purpose where we could support Dr. Jones and be witnesses and, maybe help his case out a little bit. So, my son's still kind of a brat, and anyone who's my Facebook friend will see that now and then he'll post on there under my Lyme things, oh, shut up about that stupid Lyme stuff. Because, he'd like to forget Lyme ever existed. It ruined a lot of his life. He doesn't want to hear about it. He can be a brat. But when our kids act up, at least we can say, they have Lyme rage or it's neuro-Lyme. We can just use that for everything. So my family is a little crazy, but it's all because of the spirochetes. Thank you very much, and thank you all for coming out. Have a great rest of your weekend.
All right, before our next